Today, we're going to talk about something we all go through, something that seems routine but holds immense power over our health decisions. The simple blood test. It's our body's report card, a window into our inner world. But what if I told you that simple, innocent mistakes we make in the 24 hours before the needle ever touches our skin could be telling our doctors the wrong story? These small errors can lead to incorrect diagnoses, unnecessary medications, and a whole lot of needless anxiety. But fear not. Knowledge is power, and today we are taking that power back. We will uncover the hidden saboteurs of an accurate blood test and transform you into the most informed, prepared, and empowered advocate for your own health. This isn't just about getting your blood drawn. It's about ensuring the story it tells is the true one. Stay with me. Part 1. The foundation, timing, and fasting. Let's start with the absolute bedrock of a good blood test: timing and fasting. It sounds simple, right? Your doctor says, fast before your test, and you think, okay, I'll just skip breakfast. But the devil, as they say, is in the details. And this is where the first, and perhaps most common, missteps occur. First, let's talk about timing. Our bodies are not static machines. They are dynamic ecosystems, governed by natural rhythms called circadian rhythms. The levels of many substances in our blood, like cortisol, the stress hormone, testosterone, and iron, fluctuate predictably throughout the day. Cortisol, for example, is naturally highest in the morning to help us wake up and get going, and it gradually declines throughout the day. If your doctor is checking your adrenal function, a test at 8 a.m. will look vastly different from one at 4 p.m. Testing at the wrong time could falsely suggest a serious condition like Cushing's syndrome or Addison's disease. Similarly, thyroid-stimulating hormone, TSH, also has a daily rhythm. For this reason, most doctors will insist on a morning blood draw for these specific tests. It's not about their convenience, it's about scientific accuracy. The lesson here is to treat your appointment time not as a suggestion, but as a crucial part of the test protocol. If your doctor says 8 a.m., aim for 8 a.m. If you have to reschedule, always ask if the new time will affect the results of the specific tests you're having done. Now, let's dive deeper into the big one: fasting. The word itself seems straightforward, but its interpretation is where things get murky. When your doctor orders a lipid panel to check cholesterol and triglycerides, or a glucose test for diabetes, they'll likely ask you to fast for 8 to 12 hours. The goal is to get a baseline reading of your blood, free from the immediate influence of a recent meal. The most common mistake? Thinking fasting just means no food. People will skip their toast and eggs but think nothing of having their morning cup of coffee. But black coffee, even without sugar or cream, is a stimulant. It can temporarily raise your blood sugar and fatty acid levels, potentially skewing your glucose and lipid results. The caffeine can also act as a diuretic, leading to mild dehydration, which we'll discuss later. Tea falls into the same category. What about chewing gum or sucking on a mint to combat that fasting breath? Sorry, but that's also a no-go. Even sugar-free gum can stimulate your digestive system, which can have a subtle impact on your baseline metabolic state. The act of chewing itself can sometimes trigger a release of digestive enzymes. It's a small thing, but we're aiming for perfect accuracy here. The rule of thumb for a true fast is simple: only water, nothing else. No coffee, no tea, no juice, no gum, no just a little bite. For 8 to 12 hours, you and water are best friends. And speaking of that 8 to 2-hour window, don't try to be an overachiever. Fasting for too long, say 16 or 18 hours, can also backfire. Prolonged fasting can put your body into a state of stress, potentially affecting your lipid and glucose levels in the other direction. It can cause your body to start breaking down fat for energy, which can elevate ketone levels and affect other markers. Stick to the window your doctor recommends. It's the Goldilocks principle: not too short, not too long, but just right. Let's not forget the meal before the fast begins. Having an unusually large, greasy, or sugary dinner the night before your test is another classic error. If you indulge in a double cheeseburger with fries and a milkshake at 8 p.m., your triglyceride levels might still be elevated at 8 a.m. the next morning, even after a 12-hour fast. This could give a false impression of chronically high triglycerides. The best practice is to have a normal, balanced dinner the night before your test. Don't go on a diet, but don't have a feast either. Just be your normal self. So, the key takeaways for this section are: respect the appointment time, understand that fasting means water only, adhere to the recommended fasting window, and eat a normal meal the night before. Getting this foundation right is the first and most critical step towards a blood test you can trust. Part 2. The influence of what you ingest, medications, supplements, and hydration. All right, we've mastered timing and fasting. Now, let's open up our medicine cabinets, because what's inside can have a profound and often surprising impact on your blood work. This section is all about the powerful influence of medications, supplements, and even simple hydration. Let's start with prescription and over-the-counter medications. It's easy to remember to tell your doctor about your heart medication or your diabetes pills, but what about that ibuprofen you took for a headache, or the antihistamine for your seasonal allergies? These seemingly harmless, common drugs can be significant confounders. For instance, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or NSAIDs, that's your ibuprofen, Advil, Motrin, and naproxen, Alev, can affect kidney function and liver enzymes, especially with regular use. A blood test might show elevated creatinine or liver markers, prompting concern about kidney or liver disease when it's really just the medication. Some diuretics, or water pills, used for blood pressure, can raise blood sugar and uric acid levels, potentially leading to a false alarm for diabetes or gout. Even common beta blockers for hypertension can impact your cholesterol levels. The golden rule is absolute transparency. Before your blood test, create a comprehensive list of everything you take. Don't just list the prescriptions. Include over-the-counter pain relievers, cold medicines, allergy pills, and acid reducers. Present this list to your doctor and ask, is there anything on this list I should temporarily stop taking before my blood draw? Never stop taking a prescribed medication without your doctor's explicit instruction, but opening the conversation is crucial. Now for the really tricky area, vitamins and supplements. The supplement industry is a multi-billion-dollar business, and many of us take something to support our health, whether it's a daily multivitamin, vitamin D for bone health, or herbal remedies. But these are not inert substances. They are biologically active and can dramatically interfere with lab tests. The most notorious culprit in recent years is biotin, or vitamin B7. It's often marketed for healthy hair, skin, and nails, and is found in many multivitamins in high doses. The problem is that many modern lab tests use a technology that relies on a bond between biotin and another molecule called streptavidin. If you have high levels of biotin in your blood, it can interfere with this process, leading to wildly inaccurate results for a whole host of tests. It can falsely lower a key cardiac marker, troponin, potentially masking a heart attack. And it can wreak havoc on thyroid tests, making a person with an underactive thyroid appear normal, or a person with a normal thyroid appear to have an overactive one. Graves' disease. This has led to serious misdiagnoses. The FDA has issued warnings about this, yet many people are still unaware. The solution? Stop taking any supplements containing biotin for at least 3 to 5 days before your blood test. Check the labels on your multivitamins carefully. Other supplements can cause issues too. Vitamin C, in large doses, can interfere with tests for blood sugar and cholesterol. Iron supplements will, of course, affect tests for iron levels and anemia. So your doctor needs to know if you're taking them to properly interpret the results. St. John's wort, an herbal remedy for depression, can affect liver enzymes and how your body processes other drugs. Finally, let's talk about something that seems simple: hydration. While we mentioned it briefly in the context of fasting, its importance deserves its own spotlight. Being even mildly dehydrated is a very common mistake. When you don't drink enough water, the liquid portion of your blood, the plasma, decreases, making the blood more concentrated. This can falsely elevate your red blood cell count, hemoglobin, and hematocrit, the key markers for anemia. It can make your kidney function look worse than it is by raising your blood urea nitrogen, and creatinine levels. It also makes the phlebotomist's job much harder. Well-hydrated veins are plump and easy to find. Dehydrated veins are smaller and can collapse, leading to a difficult, painful draw and potentially damaging the blood cells, which can skew even more results, like potassium levels. So, while you are fasting from food, you should be actively hydrating with water. Drink a good glass of water before you go to bed, and another one as soon as you wake up. Continue to sip water on your way to the lab. It will make your draw smoother and your results more accurate. In this journey of health, what you ingest is paramount. Be a detective. Scrutinize your medications and supplements, have an open dialogue with your doctor, and make water your trusted companion. Your blood will thank you for it. Part 3. The impact of your actions, exercise, stress, and sleep. Welcome back to Senior Wise Journey. We've covered what not to eat and what to be mindful of in your medicine cabinet. Now, let's turn our attention to our actions in the 24 hours before a blood test. How we move, how we feel, and how we sleep can create ripples that turn into waves in our lab results. Let's begin with exercise. We all know that regular physical activity is a cornerstone of healthy aging. It strengthens our heart, builds our bones, and lifts our mood. But a strenuous workout right before a blood test can be a recipe for confusion. When you engage in intense exercise, whether it's a fast-paced game of pickleball, a heavy session at the gym, or a long, hilly bike ride, you cause microscopic damage to your muscle fibers. This is a normal part of building strength. Your body responds by repairing this damage, a process that involves inflammation and the release of certain enzymes into the bloodstream. One of these is creatine kinase, CK. Elevated CK is a marker doctors use to look for muscle damage, often from a heart attack or other muscle diseases. A post-workout spike could send up a red flag, leading to unnecessary cardiac evaluations and a lot of anxiety. Intense exercise can also temporarily raise your liver enzyme levels, OST and ALT. A doctor seeing these elevated numbers might start investigating for liver disease or damage when all you did was have a particularly energetic day. Furthermore, vigorous activity can increase your white blood cell count as part of the body's inflammatory response and can even affect your PSA, prostate-specific antigen, levels in men. It can also temporarily raise your potassium levels. The key here is the word intense. A gentle walk or some light stretching is perfectly fine and can even be beneficial, but it's wise to skip your high-intensity workout for at least 24, and ideally 48, hours before your scheduled blood draw. Think of it as a rest day for the sake of accuracy. Next, let's talk about a powerful, invisible force: stress. Life is full of stressors, from worrying about family to navigating financial concerns or simply getting stuck in traffic on the way to the lab. While we can't eliminate stress, we need to be aware of its physiological impact. When you are stressed, your body goes into fight or flight mode. Your adrenal glands release a surge of hormones, most notably cortisol and adrenaline. As we discussed earlier, cortisol levels have a natural daily rhythm, but an acute stress event can cause them to spike unnaturally. If your blood is drawn during this spike, it could lead a doctor to investigate for conditions like Cushing's syndrome, which is characterized by high cortisol levels. Stress also dumps glucose into your bloodstream to provide quick energy for your muscles. This is an ancient survival mechanism, but in the context of a lab test, a stress-induced glucose spike could be misinterpreted as a sign of prediabetes or insulin resistance. It can also temporarily raise your white blood cell count. So what can you do? You can't just will yourself to be calm, but you can be proactive. Give yourself plenty of time to get to your appointment so you're not rushing. Practice some simple deep breathing exercises while you're in the waiting room. A slow 4-count inhale, hold for 4, and a slow 6-count exhale. Listen to calming music on the way. Acknowledging that the white coat itself can be a stressor is the first step. Managing it, even in small ways, can make a real difference. Finally, let's pull back the covers on sleep. A poor night's sleep is more than just a nuisance that leaves you feeling groggy. It's a physiological stressor. Sleep deprivation can have a significant impact on your blood work, echoing many of the effects of psychological stress. Lack of quality sleep can raise cortisol levels, disrupt your blood glucose regulation, and increase markers of inflammation like C-reactive protein, CRP. If a doctor is tracking your inflammation levels to monitor a condition like arthritis, a single bad night's sleep could suggest your condition is flaring up when it isn't. It can also affect your blood pressure and hormone levels. Prioritizing sleep the night before a blood test is a non-negotiable. Try to stick to your regular sleep schedule. Create a relaxing bedtime routine. Turn off screens an hour beforehand, read a book, take a warm bath, or listen to soothing sounds. Avoid caffeine and alcohol, which are known sleep disruptors. Making your bedroom a cool, dark, and quiet sanctuary will set the stage for a restful night. Think of it as preparing your body to give the most honest, rested, and accurate account of itself. Our actions speak volumes, and in the case of a blood test, they can speak a language of confusion if we're not careful. By moderating your exercise, managing your stress, and prioritizing your sleep, you ensure that your lab results reflect your true state of health, not just a snapshot of a hectic day. Part 4. Hidden saboteurs: alcohol, smoking, and specific foods. We've built a strong foundation for an accurate blood test, but there are a few more lifestyle factors, some hidden saboteurs, that we need to bring into the light. These are the choices we make around things like a glass of wine with dinner or a morning cigarette. Let's explore how alcohol, smoking, and even certain foods can quietly sabotage your results. First up, alcohol. It's socially ingrained in many of our lives, a celebratory toast, a relaxing beer after a long day. But when it comes to your blood work, alcohol is a significant troublemaker, and its effects can linger longer than you might think. The most well-known impact is on your liver enzymes. Your liver is the primary site for metabolizing alcohol. When you drink, your liver works overtime, and this can cause a temporary spike in enzymes like GGT, AST, and ALT. A doctor seeing these elevated levels out of context would naturally become concerned about liver inflammation, fatty liver disease, or other chronic liver conditions. While one drink might not cause a dramatic spike in a healthy person, moderate to heavy drinking in the days before a test certainly can. Alcohol also plays havoc with your blood sugar and lipids. Initially, it can lower your blood sugar, but the sugary mixers in cocktails can send it soaring. Over the long term, it can contribute to insulin resistance. More immediately, alcohol can significantly raise your triglyceride levels. These are the fats in your blood, and high levels are a risk factor for heart disease. The effect can be so pronounced that doctors recommend abstaining from all alcohol for at least 48 to 72 hours before a lipid panel to get a clear picture. The best and simplest advice? Treat your upcoming blood test like you're the designated driver for your own health. Abstain from all alcoholic beverages for at least 2 full days before your appointment. This allows your liver to settle down and your lipid levels to return to their true baseline. Next, let's address smoking. If you're a smoker, you're likely aware of the long-term health risks, but many don't realize the immediate impact smoking has on a blood test. A cigarette is not a passive activity, it's an acute chemical event in your body. The nicotine in tobacco is a powerful stimulant. It causes your adrenal glands to release adrenaline, which constricts your blood vessels, raises your blood pressure, and tells your liver to dump glucose into your bloodstream. Smoking a cigarette on the way to the lab can therefore give you a falsely high glucose reading. Nicotine also affects your blood cell counts. It can increase your white blood cell count, neutrophils, which is a general marker of inflammation. A doctor might interpret this as your body fighting an infection or a chronic inflammatory disease. It also increases levels of certain clotting factors, making your blood slightly stickier. Perhaps most importantly, for long-term monitoring, smoking can raise your levels of carcinoembryonic antigen, CEA. CEA is a tumor marker that doctors sometimes use to monitor certain types of cancer. In a smoker, CEA levels can be chronically elevated even in the absence of cancer, making it a less reliable marker. The ideal scenario, of course, is to quit smoking altogether. But in the short term, for the sake of an accurate test, it is critical to not smoke on the day of your blood draw, especially in the hours leading up to it. This will give you the most accurate baseline for glucose, hormone, and inflammation markers. Finally, let's touch on a few specific foods. We already discussed having a normal, balanced meal the night before, but are there any specific foods that are particularly problematic? Yes. For men who are having a PSA test for prostate health, there's some evidence that vigorous ejaculation within 48 hours of the test can cause a temporary rise in PSA levels. While this isn't a food, it's a lifestyle factor worth noting. On the food front, some studies have suggested that diets extremely high in certain fatty acids or even some herbal supplements could influence PSA, though this is less clear. For anyone having tests for kidney function, a very high-protein meal, like a giant steak, the night before can temporarily increase your creatinine levels, as creatinine is a byproduct of muscle metabolism. And what about that avocado you love? Avocados are rich in healthy fats, but if you eat a large amount, it could still contribute to elevated triglycerides in the short term. The key, as always, is moderation and consistency. The goal is for your blood test to reflect your typical day-to-day health. Drastic changes of any kind, feasting or fasting, binging on a specific food, or starting a new crash diet right before your test are the enemy of accuracy. By being mindful of these hidden saboteurs, alcohol, smoking, and dietary extremes, you are removing the static and allowing your true health signal to come through loud and clear. Part 5. The communication key, being your own health advocate. We have arrived at our final, and arguably most important, point on this journey to an accurate blood test. We've discussed the science, the fasting, the medications, the lifestyle factors, but all of this knowledge is only truly powerful when it's paired with one thing: effective communication. This section is about becoming the CEO of your own health, the lead partner in the doctor-patient relationship. It's about being your own best advocate. For generations, the model of medicine was often paternalistic. The doctor was the authority figure who gave instructions, and the patient was expected to follow them quietly. Thankfully, that model is changing. Today, the best healthcare is a collaborative partnership. Your doctor has the medical expertise, but you are the world's leading expert on one subject: your own body and your own life. Your lived experience, your daily habits, your symptoms, even the ones that seem silly or small, this is all critical data. And a blood test result is just one piece of data that needs to be interpreted within the context of your life. This is why open, honest communication is not just a nice idea, it's a diagnostic tool. Let's imagine a scenario. You had a terrible night of sleep. You were stressed about the appointment. You forgot and took an ibuprofen for a sore knee, and you had 2 glasses of wine with dinner 2 nights ago. You go in, get your blood drawn, and a week later, your doctor calls. The results show slightly elevated liver enzymes, high blood sugar, and markers of inflammation. If your doctor has none of your context, their mind will immediately go to a clinical pathway. Could this be fatty liver disease? Is this pre-diabetes? Is there a chronic inflammatory process we need to investigate? This could trigger a cascade of more tests, more appointments, more worry, and maybe even a prescription you don't truly need. Now, let's rewind that scenario. This time, when you sit down with the phlebotomist or see your doctor, you practice being your own advocate. You say, "Before we start, I just want to let you know a few things. I had a rough night of sleep. so I'm not feeling my best. I also took an ibuprofen this morning without thinking, and I did have a couple of glasses of wine with friends the other night. I just wanted to make sure you had that information when you look at my results. What have you just done? You've provided the essential context. You've given your doctor the user's manual for your lab results. Now, when they see those slightly elevated numbers, their thinking is entirely different. They'll think, the liver enzymes are likely from the wine. The inflammation and glucose are probably a result of the poor sleep and stress compounded by the NSAID. Instead of launching a battery of new tests, they might say, "Thank you for telling me. Let's not worry about these numbers just yet. Let's focus on getting some good rest and retest in a few months to make sure they've normalized." See the difference? It's night and day. One path leads to anxiety and over-medicalization. The other leads to prudent, watchful waiting. Being your own advocate also means asking questions. Don't be afraid to be curious. When your doctor orders a test, it's perfectly acceptable to ask, "What is this test looking for specifically? Are there any special preparations I need for this, like fasting or avoiding certain medications? Is there a specific time of day that's best for this draw?" When you get your results, don't just settle for everything looks normal. Ask for a copy of your results. Many patient portals now provide them automatically. Look at the numbers yourself. Ask your doctor, "What are my trends over time? My cholesterol is in the normal range, but is it higher or lower than last year?" This is how you move from being a passive recipient of care to an active participant. This is the essence of the Senior Wise journey. Wisdom isn't just about what you know, it's about having the confidence to use that knowledge. Your health is your most precious asset. It's the vehicle for everything else you want to do in life. Spend time with grandkids, travel, pursue your hobbies. Protecting that asset requires your active involvement. Don't ever feel like you are bothering your doctor by providing information or asking questions. You are helping them do their job better. You are ensuring that your healthcare is truly personalized to you. Be honest, be open, be curious, be the indispensable partner in your own wellness journey. And so, we come to the end of our journey today. We've seen how the path to an accurate, trustworthy blood test is paved with small, mindful actions. It's about more than just showing up. It's about respecting your body's rhythms by testing at the right time. It's about a true fast water only. It's about being transparent about every pill and supplement you take. And it's about managing your activity, your stress, and your sleep in the 24 hours before the draw. But most of all, it's about finding your voice. The single greatest tool you have in your healthcare toolkit is your ability to communicate, to share your story, to provide the context that turns numbers on a page into a true picture of your health. You are the keeper of your own wisdom. Thank you for joining me on the Senior Wise journey today. If you found this information valuable and empowering, please help our community grow. Take a moment to click that like button, share this video with a friend who might benefit, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you never miss a step on our shared journey to a vibrant and healthy life. Until next time, be well and be wise.